So the first question, Road to Free College says, I currently have a tote bag shop. I'm thinking of adding a vintage jewelry shop this summer. Once I do, I will have less time for my first shop. That is true. When this shop is open, how many bags do I need to keep adding each week to my tote bag shop in order for Etsy's algorithm to stay happy? 0. Okay, look, Etsy's algorithm doesn't care if you're adding new things to the shop. What it cares about is if those things are selling. All right, I could go into my shop and add 1,000 things that nobody wants and no one's ever going to buy. It's not going to help me get sales on Etsy. All right. And Etsy really doesn't, people say, oh, you need to keep adding new stuff. You really don't. As long as you're making sales, you really don't need, it's not like a requirement to add new stuff. It helps to add new stuff every now and then just so that you can kind of give your customers something different to buy. But you don't need to add new stuff to please Etsy's algorithm. You know what I mean? Etsy likes it when things sell. If you have 3 things in your shop and they sell over and over and over and over, and you never add anything new, Etsy's going to keep showing those things. Etsy's going to be happy. It wants things to sell. It doesn't want things that sit there, but they don't care because every time you list it, you're paying them 20 cents. All right. So it doesn't help in the algorithm to have more things listed on a regular basis. It's just, they just want to see things that sell. Project Pismo says, I was running macrame and brass mobile shop a few years back. I've got great results with Pinterest. It was easy to get views. Now I own a digital template shop. And despite of pinning almost every day, I hardly get any views. Yeah, Pinterest is different now, right? Pinterest changed or my audience is not there. It could be both. It's a different product, but Pinterest definitely changes like every day. The wind changes direction and Pinterest changes somehow. And then they say, or maybe I'm not using the right keywords. We'll be very grateful for any tips. It's hard to say what's going on because I don't know what your pins look like. Is it just digital? Let me see. I think you said digital. I want to see exactly what you're selling. Digital templates. Okay. So I don't know what kind of templates that means, but there might not be the same market for it on Pinterest. I mean, I know that some of the stuff that I post on Pinterest for certain topics does really, really well, and other topics doesn't do as well. So some of it is that the audience just might not be there on Pinterest. But again, you have to think of intent. And if you are a member, I posted a video with some shop reviews, and I think it had some really good information in it. It ended up, I talked a lot about intent. And I was talking about using the same keywords on Pinterest and Google and Etsy. And people go to Pinterest not necessarily to shop. That might be a byproduct of it. They go to plan things that they want to look for to buy. They go to Etsy to buy things, and they go to Google for multiple reasons, right? So on Pinterest, you might have just hit a group of people with the macrame that were ready to buy things, and then they come to Etsy. With templates, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what kind of templates they are. It depends on a lot of things. So I can't give you a really great definitive answer because number one, Pinterest changes all the time. But if you're using a totally different product on there, it could be a combination of many things. So I don't know exactly. But you have to determine how are you marketing to people on Pinterest? And that's the intent. That's the part where the intent comes in. And I think that's where a lot of people drop the ball with Pinterest. So I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer, but yes, Pinterest has changed, but you've also changed your products that you're promoting on there. So you might have to change your approach because what you did with macrame is not going to work necessarily with what you're selling now. Okay. Udelka says, I had my shop closed last year and reopened back in October. I've tried Etsy ads, posting new items, driving traffic. Anything else I can do to get more traffic? No. I hate to say this. When I do a search of my items in incognito mode, my items are not being shown. Most of my sales are coming from ads, but they are eating my profit. I'm about to give up. Please help. Okay, look, the way that you get traffic anywhere is organic, which is SEO, where it's being found from social media or wherever. So people just come directly to you without paying for an ad, or it's ads. So if you are not getting sales, but you're running ads, then you might want to check to see first what kind of keywords is Etsy showing those ads for, because they show them for weird stuff sometimes. All right. Then you want to check to see if what you're selling, and I hate to say, I have no idea what you're selling. Okay. I'm very bad at remembering what people sell. I don't know what you're selling, but you might want to check to see if number one, is it super competitive? Because that's going to make it super difficult to begin with. Number two, is it something that's in demand? And even if it's in demand in a very small percentage of the population, is that who you're marketing to, right? Because you might be posting somewhere on your social media and you say you're driving traffic. I don't know what that means. All right. Are you really driving traffic? And I'm not picking on you, Delka, because this is something that I see very commonly is people say, I'm doing everything that I can do. And I go and I'm like, no, you're really not. Okay. Because they don't have a Pinterest account. They don't have Facebook. They don't have social media accounts set up. So there's a lot of things that you can do. There are things that you can do on Etsy to get organic traffic, which is to spread your listings across the Etsy platform. And there's a way to do that. And we talk about that in the eShop program in the traffic on Etsy section. I'm not going to get into it now because it's pretty complicated. You have to do it deliberately. But there are ways to get traffic that are not SEO related, but you basically have SEO traffic and social traffic and ads. So if you have all of those covered, which I doubt, because most people are missing something. I'm sure that I'm missing a lot of social traffic because I really I don't care. I don't post on social platforms that much to drive traffic to my Etsy site. I just don't. I send everything to my website, but I'm also just not interested in posting a lot on Instagram and that kind of thing. I'm heavy into Pinterest and I'm heavy into Google search. All right. But everybody has something that they're missing. So you need to do a real honest reality check with yourself to see what you're missing and then work on that and see what's working. Go and look to see what are you doing now that's actually bringing you traffic and do more of that. But there's probably things that you're not doing. And I can't go and look at that right now because that's a whole thing. But you need to be real super honest with yourself about what are you not doing that you could be doing. And that could be what brings you more traffic and gets you more sales. And like I said, make sure that you're marketing to the right people, because I could be saying, I'm posting on Instagram 20 times a day. But if every time I post, I'm using hashtags that are like Etsy seller, small business life, that's not marketing to customers. That's marketing to other Etsy sellers. The hashtags that you use are important. So you have to think of things like that. Lauren W says, do you think Pinterest is a good place to pin craft supply listings? Only if you do it a certain way. And this is what I was talking about. Pinning craft supply listings Pinterest is an excellent place for that because a lot of people are looking for crafts to do, right? But you have to pin it in a certain way. You can't just put the listing photo up and say, here it is. You need to create a pin that says, this is what it could be used for. It's like Pinterest is there for inspiration and people getting ideas. It's for people who want to save an idea for later, or they want to get inspiration for projects or things like that. So if you think about it that way, think about making a pin that is a little bit more than just pinning your product. You can do that. You can pin the products, and you should do kind of a combination of all of them. But there's multiple types of pins. There's multiple styles of pins, and you need to do an experiment with your own products to see which ones get picked up and which ones get shown and which ones get pinned. And I'm always surprised because I'll pin something I think is just ugly, and everybody starts saving it. I'm like, I can't figure it out, but you just have to do that and then see what kind of gets picked up by your members, like the viewers, your viewers. Okay. How could you show ideas on Pinterest if you sell finished products? I would think more supplies would take me to Pinterest and ideas. Okay. Well, think of Pinterest as a place to show how to use your products, show about your products, tell them what your products are for. And you don't have to do every single pin like that. I will do product pins, but those are just, it's a video of the thing. It's like a listing video, right? I think I just took a video of something. I had some molds and I was making, fondant things with the molds and showing it. But you can do different types of pins and just see what works. So like, let's say you sell jewelry, all right? Let's say you sell necklaces. Show how the necklace looks on someone. Show what the clasp looks like when you put it on. It doesn't have to be fancy, and you don't have to do how to make a necklace. Just show things about it. Think of it as like a little commercial. You can put little commercials for your products on Pinterest. The things that get people's attention on Pinterest are anything that starts with how to or what is, but how to is really the thing on Pinterest. If you think of questions that start with how to, or how do I, right? that is the kind of thing that you can answer with a pin that will get people's attention. The question came up in the public group, the Facebook group, right before I came on here. Should you let old listings that aren't selling just expire? Should you renew them when they come up? It doesn't hurt to have listings up that don't sell. It doesn't hurt your shop, regardless of what people say. There's a whole thing where people say you need to get rid of all the listings that don't sell. No, don't do that just because you think it's going to help, because it doesn't matter. The more listings that you have, the easier it is for Etsy to find you for something, right? And I have a lot of listings that hardly ever sell, but every now and then someone will come along and buy something that hasn't sold for 3 years. And then because it's sold, Etsy starts showing it to more people. And like right now, I'm having a weird little run on a very specific pattern of wafer paper that I haven't sold for years on Etsy. I sell it on my website occasionally, but because it sold once on Etsy, Etsy will show it again, and then people will buy it. And then Etsy will show it again because it sold again. So it doesn't hurt to have listings that just sit there, but you have to make a decision for yourself whether you want to keep paying the listing fee.